Went to a Unitarian church, happened to be a panelist in a Unitarian church right here up in Boca Raton. You would not believe the kind of things, the kind of misconception about God that these people have. Brothers and sisters, when I read these verses in the Quran, and Allah says, Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah, that Allah has commanded us to invite to the way of Allah with wisdom. Listen, that panel discussion that I went to, in normal language, it's haram for me to sit there. It was haram for me to sit there. But from a dawah point of view, it was permissible for me to be there. Because wherever the name of Allah is being ridiculed, we are not allowed to be there. But I went with the intention of dawah and to give the message. So in the line of dawah, you could meet anybody. Brothers right here in South Florida. Wow, that's why I came back really with steam. How much we are not doing anything. How much I am not doing anything. How much we are a bunch of sleepers. You know what one brother told me in that discussion? He said, do you know that man created God? That was the worst I ever heard. I couldn't forget it. I had to share that with you the first. Imagine right in our backyard, you got people believe that man created God. And you got people sleeping here in Darul Uloom, pushing your money in your back pocket, in your accounts, sleeping in it, sleeping on it, sleeping with it. And then when you die, somebody else will sleep with it. Huh? What are we doing to spread this message? I'm not giving you right here. Huh? One man, it was all a bunch. Have you heard of Scientology? I had a lot of Scientologists there. Atheists, Jews, Christians. And I was in the front getting all this heat, I alone. And I always say, when I look for brothers, they're busy with their wife or they have all 9 yards things to do. When Allah asks you about joining the Dawah team, you will tell him you are busy doing laundry at home for your wife or cooking for your wife, and I'm sorry to put it like that. You will give him that answer. It's up to him. He's most merciful, most forgiving. I couldn't join the Dawah team. I couldn't give Dawah. I didn't have time. One man had the audacity to say there is no God, and I don't believe there is a God, and if there is a God, he's dead. And I'm sitting right there here, and I got to answer back these questions. Do you know the attack that was coming? And every time I give an answer, they just get in at it. Hot discussion. The one guy got up and said, God, Na'uzubillah, he's a criminal. He just destroys people. He doesn't accept prayer. He doesn't do anything for nobody. I don't believe in praying to God. I don't believe God answers God anything. And if he was really a God, and if he did really create this world and he made a mistake, he's a bad manager. Storms, earthquakes, disasters. And I'm like, oh. So I asked that brother, I said, listen, don't you understand? Do you know the reason why the big fish eats the small fish in the ocean? He can't answer me. I said, okay. I said, listen, in production and productivity, we have to understand that God is bigger than us. He's Akbar, he's the greatest. In his plan and his production and whatever he has created, he is the creator. He knows why he created certain things, and he knows what is the process of it. And the earthquake and the storms and the rains and all the rain and all these things are all the procedure in God's production. And we gotta understand that we don't have the ability. The software was not created in our brain and our mind, even though we say man can imagine anything. But just as our hands are limited, our eyes are limited, our ears are limited, our smell limited, similarly our thinking ability is limited. We were not created with that software beyond. So we will always go in circles and never be able to understand and accept what and who is God. You can look, but you got to look at the creation of God, look at his examples and the prophets and the message, and understand It is beyond our understanding to figure him out. That's why Allah says, Allahu. You know what Allah means? Allah is not a name. Allah means the none like him. Nobody can understand that. That's why God does not translate Allah. It's not equivalent. We only use that word because it's the closest. So I was telling him. And then he's like, well, science is more perfect than God, because science does everything better for people today. I said, do you know how many people science have killed? To come to what they have, to go on the moon, to discover this. They have killed so many people. How could you call that perfect? And I was telling them, listen, God does not need to know science. Scientists need to understand what God did. And if scientists don't understand it, it's no fault of God. It's the weakness of the scientists. And I was showing them a telephone. I said, do you know this phone? An iPhone, you know what this could do today? Fantastic. I said, do you know 25 years ago when I came to America, a cellular phone was almost big like your hands. It was like a gun or a weapon. I said, scientists didn't know to do this then. They themselves are learning. They're learning. And 25 years down the line, you don't know what is going to happen with this. They are still learning what God has created. How could you say science is perfect and God is imperfect? And he was like, then he came now with another question, because every time you put them on a spot, they get it with a different thing. He said, well, you know what? Look at God. God has commanded in your Quran to eat birds and eat cows. That is so criminalistic. I say I know almost everybody in America ate turkeys 2 weeks ago, but forget about that story. I just put it on the side. Everybody killed turkeys and ate a few weeks ago, but anyhow. So I went on to say, listen, you're telling me that that's bad that God did. You can't answer why the big fish eats the small fish. So what are you? He said he's a vegetarian. I said, beautiful. Now I'm showing you what we face right here, you know. We need to reach this message of the Quran. I'm not talking about giving dawah to read Salah and read Quran. We need to give the message for people to believe in God. They have not even reached the stage of God. That is very bad. And you sleeping here? That was like, brother, you spray chemicals to run the insects away from herbs and leaves and trees. He said, yeah, it's all right. No, I said to kill them. He said, no, we don't kill them. We chase them from one place to the next. I said, and then you spray there and chase them from there to another place. He says, yeah. I said, you know what you really do? You are depriving insects from eating so you could eat the leaves. So you're equally a criminal. You're killing the plants. You know what he came up with? Scientologist. He said, there's a difference, sir. I said, what? He said the cows and the birds got carried. They feel pain. Insects don't feel pain. You can understand. They just go crazy because they don't have a belief in God. So they find every scientific, physical reason to defend their case. But we have to teach them the reality. You know, there was an atheist guy sitting in the audience. He is an atheist, does not believe in God, but he got so mad with the Scientologists. He said, listen, you Scientologist guys speak a bunch of stupidity. If I have a choice, I will believe in God and not Scientology. I'm like, oh my gosh. Then he turns to me, because this guy who believes in Scientology is giving me so much bashing. He turns to me and says, boy, Sheikh, God bless you. I'm like, wow. He almost got Hidayah. He's an atheist. He proclaimed, I am an atheist. So what I'm telling you about the closeness, people are right there. People want to believe. You know, Einstein, that very famous scientist, one of the most famous scientists in the world, he said science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. And I quoted that for them, meaning that if you think you're a scientist and you don't understand God, you are lame. You got a shortcoming, because you don't understand where that nature that you are discovering came from. And if we also, on the other hand, want to sit here in the masjid and don't face the reality of what is happening outside, technology and science, that's being blind. And as a Muslim, we should not be blind. So we need to keep the middle path. But to conclude, my brothers and sisters, right in our backyard, do you know one of the belief of these guys, these atheists? You know what was this one atheist said when he was asked about his belief on God? He said, I don't believe God created me. I came from the apes. A man said that to me directly Tuesday. He said, I came from the apes. I'm like, you really look like an ape and you sound like an ape. But I couldn't say that. They would have probably locked me up or sued me. He said, I wanted to tell him that. But do you know, one other atheist said, when he was asked, in discussion, he said, when he was asked why you don't eat animals, he said, animals are our cousins. I'm like, come on. Think what's going on. Listen, don't denounce these things, This is a reality. I didn't read this in a book, I went through this debate. Now I could understand why some of these people sleep with animals. They sleep with dogs, sleep with cats, they sleep with animals. Very soon, we already have man marrying man, woman marrying woman. Very soon you're going to have to do a nikah with a woman and a dog. Huh? Because the man is saying that. They have no God. They have no faith. And listen, we got to understand. Allah has commanded us to invite to Allah. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. Invite with wisdom, but we are commanded ud'u. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Whose words are better than he who invites to Allah? This is a whole different category to inviting people to Salah and Masjid and Quran. That's why I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, those of you who got businesses and you got non-Muslims working in your businesses, you got to start. You got an easy start. It's harder than what I go through. These guys could have poisoned me or killed me because they think we're a bunch of criminals. So that's what I'm telling you. Very soon people are going to be having official marriage ceremony with animals. That's why they don't eat animals. It's too much a pain for their family. Now, they don't understand the concept of God. So I had to mention to one of them, I said, but if pain is a problem, you shouldn't be in this world. It's like, why? What do you mean? I said, don't you know your mother went through pain to bring you here? The pain that your mother goes through, nothing goes through a pain like that. But that's a very serious pain. You should stop birth. Could you have prevented yourself from being born? No answer. How could you prevent yourself from being born? You don't have control over yourself. So when you let some of these people think, God, Allah, His purpose, the Creator, they don't believe in a creator, they believe in a creation. That's why one of the men came and he said, we believe man created God. I'm like, I had to sit and listen to this. But you know what? It's in the field of da'wah and I have no problem. It opens up my mind, it opens up my brain, it opens up my heart, and it gets me angry. Why do we let these radical imams brainwash some of us? We come here, we sit, we sleep in khutbahs, we don't get the message. That's why we miss it. He says, all I need you to be grateful. Allah. Are you telling me Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not protect the prestige of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Only living for business. That's all our dream. Let me see who shall save you now.